We get an inside look at the true case files of Pedro Villegas and his undercover work, which led to the biggest drug bust in U.S. history. And we get a glimpse of what's in store for this year's Hispanic Leadership Summit. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose to get lost in the woods to gain experience in forest management.
Choose to travel through time to understand the past.
Choose to soar to pursue a career in dance.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas. Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. He was a deep undercover agent racing against government corruption, racism, and a professional hitman to bust the Pablo Escobar drug cartel. And he's here today to talk about his story. Pedro Villegas is here. Welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Pedro, your story is certainly a historic story that's told in this book that you've written called Loco in the Badlands. And it's your story as an undercover police officer. Tell me a little bit how you got started.
I worked for Philadelphia PD for about 4 to 5 years. Then I went and moved on to the Camden County Prosecutor's Office. After that, I went to, well, I didn't go. They actually recruited me because of what I had done historically in New Jersey. I did some pretty big busts. I also worked with the FBI and DEA, and I managed to did in my infancy, as I call it, did some historic stuff here in New Jersey. And after that, I was seen by the actual government, and some agents came down and recruited me to do bigger jobs. And that's how I got.
Bigger job was going undercover. And when you say deep undercover, what does that mean?
Well, it means when you're there, you don't come out like what you see on TV.
So it's not like you put on a wig and you go out and arrest somebody, right?
No, you actually, what happens is you actually become the person that you're portraying in the undercover status, which means I have a name, I use it, social security number, everything is like a regular normal person. And unfortunately, like they show on TV, there's a lot of false things on TV. There's nobody backing you up. There's no sergeant to ask you, what do you do, whatever. You do not, there's no way to fall back on anything. It's like if you were in a movie, you have 1 take, 2 takes. In this, it's life. It's 1 take and it's over.
So you got to rely a lot on your instincts to survive.
All instincts, but a lot of knowledge. You got to know a lot. And when you get deep undercover, the way that I did, you work with the cartel. These guys are very well educated. You have a lot of guys that are Princeton, Harvard people. It's just incredible, the people that you meet, that you deal with. They're not idiots. You know, they could probably be CEOs of Pepsi Cola or whatever.
So let me ask you this. Aren't you afraid to come out with your story?
No, because technically, if I was afraid, I would have never gone undercover. And that's just a part of life, being raised in the atmosphere that I was raised. I was raised in the streets, so no, I wasn't afraid.
And I know you've taken some precaution in terms of changing some of the names, and although this is based on real life, you change some of the names and to protect both the innocent and also the ones that may be guilty as well.
Yes, a liable issue for publishers, and I had to change a few things around.
So this book is available where?
It's available in Barnes & Nobles, also in Amazon. And also you can go on my website, Loco in the Badlands, and get information and find out where I'm at. And I'm available for speeches and so on and so forth.
And we're going to continue to talk about the story.
Sure.
We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. I'm here with Pedro Villegas, the deep undercover agent responsible for the largest drug bust in U.S. history. Let's go right into the drug bust.
Yes.
Obviously, that was a big accomplishment, but it took a lot of work to get there. What did you have to do to open the door, to get that kind of access to make that happen?
Unfortunately for them, they were being hit hard around the Miami area and the Caribbean, and they needed a new access to bring the drugs in. And that's where I was fortunate enough to make them that offer through an informant. And once he introduced me and I showed them what I had and who I was, then they immediately made a deal with me. And that's how I got in really well.
And when you say they, who are you talking about? Who were the big names? And
The Medellin cartel at the time.
which
They
is
were the
Pedro
first.
Escobar.
Yes.
What was your association with Pedro Escobar?
We had many contacts, of course, and he would make orders or they were deals that, first of all, it's a pretty complicated thing to explain in a few minutes, but the essence of it is that he wanted access to bring the drugs in, and that's what I could bring to them.
And you had the government that were able to help you to create that access.
Yes, we had access through through customs and various means, and we would bring large amounts of drugs.
Now, that very government that helped you create those pathways, you also mentioned that there was government corruption. Tell me a little bit about that.
Unfortunately, the government corruptions, it's difficult to talk about because unfortunately they're helping me. But besides that, along the way, I met people that in government and all sorts of government, not just here, other governments, which had access to drugs, and they took advantage of those access. That's the best way to put it.
You also face racism in this. Tell me how you face racism.
Being a Hispanic, obviously, and Puerto Rican, there's always racism involved, unfortunately. Going in the beginning, in the Philadelphia police, I saw a few things, and people didn't like me for the obvious reason. I was Hispanic, Puerto Rican descent, of course. It happened also as I climbed the ladder. People get jealous. Fortunately, that didn't bother me. That only gave me more courage and made me even stronger to show them that I can do better and outshine anybody.
All the work you did finally paid off with the biggest bust in U.S. history. How big of a bust was this, and what was it?
Well, technically, what is called is the biggest hand-to-hand bust in the United States history. What that means is you actually started from the beginning, which is very difficult to start, and then you lead up to bringing whatever amount of drugs that is. And which also means it's not, for instance, a seizure. A seizure is when they find a plane and there's a lot of drugs, they bust the door down, there's a lot of drugs, or obvious things like with the chopper and all these other things where they find drugs. Obviously, there's a lot there.
This is more of a sting operation.
You can't say sting. Sting is mostly like really quick. This one was very long. So sting, you wouldn't use it, but it could be used as that term to make it easier for people to understand.
Well, great success in your undercover work, but we want to talk a little bit more about what this meant for you and your family. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion as we continue our discussion with former undercover police agent Pedro Villegas. Pedro, you certainly had a lot of undercover work that involved long time away from your family and friends. Tell me how that was like.
Unfortunately, there were no pictures taken. There's no Christmas. There's no New Year's. There's no holidays. There's nothing.
How long were you undercover?
Quite a long time. unfortunately.
We're talking months, years?
No, years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was one of the rare guys that would go undercover for a very long time. My brothers and sisters, not too long ago, found out what I did. So even my mother and father died not knowing what I did. Wow. They knew I was a cop, but that's it. But they were unaware of why I wasn't around a lot.
It looks like everyone will know now that you have the book, Loco,
Yes,
in the Badlands. And again, Loco was your undercover name?
That's correct.
And the Badlands is referring to a section of North Philadelphia?
North Philadelphia, that's correct, sir. That's where it all began. That's why I called it. It technically is Crazy in the Badlands, but Loco was my undercover name, so it's actually Pedro Villegas in the Badlands.
Let's talk about the book
Yes,
and
sir.
the success of the book, and I understand that Hollywood is interested.
Yes, I signed a contract with Light Desidero Productions, and I'm sure everybody knows who Judith Light is. She got nominated for an Emmy the other night, and very successful. She was on Who's the Boss, and her husband, who's been on the shows before and done things. And right now, they have done a lot of writing, of course. They did the actual pilot, it's written, and a few series. And then later on, I don't know how it works, but soon to come out,
This
hopefully.
is a Stephen King connection as well.
Yes, Stephen King's editor. Everybody knows about the big hit movie It. The editor of the book, his name is Bill Thompson, and he's actually edited more than 30 books of Stephen King's. All have made TV or movies. All have been hits, and all have been success. And he wouldn't have accepted my book if it wasn't even close to something good, because his name would be attached to it. So again, it's coming from that type of person and an editor of that type of writer. I'm very pleased that he edited my book.
So how proud are you of the book?
I'm very proud because I think it shows a Hispanic being raised in Harlem, coming out from nothing and becoming a success in this country where there is a lot of turmoil at this point.
Well, I wish you a lot of luck in this book, and hopefully that once this becomes a Hollywood hit, that you're back here to talk about that success as well.
Definitely be here. I don't forget the people that helped me along the way. It'd be a pleasure to come back, sir.
It's a pleasure.
Pleasure, sir.
And thank you for all the great work you did.
Thank you, sir.
We'll be right back with more Latino Motion, so please stay tuned. Welcome back to Latino Motion. Strengthening diversity and leadership, a partnership of hope is the theme of this year's Hispanic Leadership Summit. Joining me to discuss this program is Dr. Jesse Ortiz. Jesse, welcome to Latino Motion.
I'm very glad that Latino Motion is receiving the New Jersey Hispanic Leadership Association, and we have to invite all the community to this 7th Annual Leadership Summit.
Tell me a little bit about what we expect this year.
We expect excellent things like to empower, to inspire, but we have also the opportunity not only to educate our community, but also the opportunity of networking. It has been great throughout the years, and I think that this year will be even better, as you said.
Yeah, let's talk about a little bit about that networking, because that's an important aspect of when we get a lot of Latino leaders and inspiring leaders and young professionals who have their careers ahead. It's important to network and to have the right kind of connection. So certainly this is a great opportunity to do that professional networking.
Absolutely, and we also are going to receive exhibitors. So not only for the entrepreneurial part, but also individuals to network with each other. Like, I think that that's one of the most important things, that as Hispanics in this community, we only can empower our community if we allow the individual to grow. And this is a great opportunity to grow.
And you know, when you look at the Latino community and just sharing some of the data that a lot of us know, is the fact that it has a $1 trillion purchasing power. So that's significant, and it's certainly getting our share of the pie, so to speak, in terms of being involved in business and industry is very important.
And the impact that the summit has had is that it's not only New Jersey, also surrounding areas. So we're going to have a great opportunity for different diversity, marketing, or just to meet new people. So this is the great experience that you're waiting for, and at the same time, maybe to grow your business or to project your brand to the next level.
Let's talk about the event itself, the date. It's taking place Saturday, October the 21st, and where's it being held?
It's going to be in Rowan University in the Chamberlain Student Center. So we're going to be glad that Rowan University is going to receive us, and it's going to be an intergenerational celebration. High school students, college students.
Right, that's an important part. I know we do have some schools that are participating, so we have actually reached out to Atlantic City High School. We've had quite a number of other high schools in the community up in Camden as well who are coming and be part of this. In addition to that networking, there's a number of other things that are taking place, such as symposium. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we're going to have workshops, and at the same time, we're going to have keynote speakers. We're going to have Ms. Clarissa Romero as one of the keynote speakers during the day in the workshops and symposium.
And I just want to point out that all that information is available on the website, so we want to put the website out. And we're going to take a quick break because we want to talk a little more about one of the important workshops that you're working on. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion. Welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion with Dr. Jesse Ortiz in the exciting Hispanic Leadership Summit taking place Saturday, October the 21st at Rowan University. And Dr. Ortiz, you were talking about the symposium. We also have workshops that we're going to talk about, cultural celebration, and then there's a gala in the evening with a very important keynote speaker. Tell me about that.
Amazing keynote speaker. Her name is Marcela Miguel Berland. And she is an expert not only in the Hispanic market in the U.S., but also she has a long trajectory of working with presidents of Latin America and the Caribbean. So it's an amazing opportunity to have a powerful woman as a keynote speaker during the gala.
And certainly the event is dominated by a lot of women, and one of them is also in one of the workshops that you're also leading, and this is the Office Politics 101 workshop, which is also more of a personal branding kind of workshop. Tell me about that workshop.
And as I said before, the only way that we can improve ourselves as a community is to empower individuals. And in the community, we tend to oversee that office space, the frustration, miscommunication, the cultural barriers. And this is a way that you can learn about personality, the diversity, but also how can you brand yourself in order for you to move up into that corporate ladder that sometimes is very challenging, not only for Hispanics, but for minorities in general.
It's so important that you don't want to be pigeonholed, is sort of held captive, if you will, in a certain role, in a certain position. You want the ability to grow and expand, and this is why this kind of workshop is so important.
And it's a great coach. She has been author, and it's Miss Monica Guzman. So as I said before, we have excellent workshops, not only this one that I have been honored to be able to moderate, but we have diverse workshops throughout the day, the symposium. So this is an amazing opportunity to celebrate who we are in New Jersey and what we represent.
And talking about Monica Guzman, who's been on the show, she is a executive coach. She's a speaker and a trainer, so a very well-rounded individual to give you some good advice. A couple workshops for the high school students that are very important to get them involved in life and civic engagement. There's a women's empowerment workshop, and that's something that's very well attended. One of the biggest workshops that we have. Learn how to position yourself in government organizations and office politics, we just talked about. And there's also one that's very important, immigration law.
This is not only an opportunity for us to educate ourselves, but also you have the opportunity to share knowledge. We are the experts in our daily lives. So as Hispanics, we can take advantage of attending these workshops, but we can also be the voice that we want to be spread around.
So in short, whether you're a leader or want to become one, and starting out, this is an important workshop. Again, it's taking place on October the 21st at Rowan University, and we'll put the information for the website. Thank you so much for sharing this vital information, and thank you for joining us at home once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose to get your feet wet, to learn more about protecting our environment.
Choose to read minds, to understand the human brain.
Choose to get your hands dirty, to create a masterpiece.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.